So why does your skin get so dry in the winter? In the winter in New England, as the temperature drops, the humidity outside also drops. And what that does is it sucks the water out of your skin through evaporation. And that leaves a dry, cracked riverbed appearance, these little cracks that allow water to further escape out of the skin, and then also allows anything you come into contact with to get into the skin. And that can include antigens, it can include chemicals or microbes that lead to rashes and infections. So the main principle for preventing dry skin in the winter is to prevent that evaporative water loss. So the first piece of advice would be to avoid long, hot showers or baths. That hot water on your skin really increases the evaporative water loss that you have, and it worsens dry skin. Intuitively, we all know that, right? When you get out of the shower or bath and you pat yourself dry with a towel, that is the driest your skin feels really at that time. The other piece of advice that I would give to minimize dry skin in the winter is to use as little soap as you possibly need. And the reason for that is that soap works by stripping the outer layer of the skin, and that increases the amount of water that is lost through the skin and increases the antigens and the microbes that can get in and cause infections and rashes. You want to use a soap that is labeled gentle, a gentle cleanser, or anything that's labeled for sensitive skin. You really want to avoid any soaps with fragrance added or any scrubs with gritty particles that strip that outer layer of the skin. The third piece of advice would be to try to trap any moisture from getting out. So when you put leftovers in the refrigerator with a piece of saran wrap, that keeps the food fresh and it keeps things from the outside from getting in. The equivalent in skincare would be a moisturizer. So what a moisturizer does is it really traps the moisture in and prevents it from coming out. The best one is an emollient, or also known as an ointment. These are very greasy. They include Vaseline, Aquaphor, A&D ointment. They work very well, but because they're greasy, not everyone can tolerate them. If that's the case for you, I'd recommend a thick cream. So the cream should be so thick that when you tip it upside down, it doesn't lose its form. It stays in the jar. You can add some boost to your cream by looking for ingredients of natural moisturizers in the skin, and these include ceramides, hyaluronic acid, and urea. The key thing is to put that moisturizer on right after you get out of the shower or bath. When you have dry skin, you have these little cracks where the water is escaping, and also anything you come into a contact with can get into the skin and lead to rashes and infections and discomfort. So you really want, during the winter months when your skin is very dry, you want to minimize the number of chemicals and antigens you're coming into contact with. And the easiest way to do this is just to eliminate fragrance. So that means no soaps, no moisturizers with fragrance, but you also have to think outside the box and really look at your detergents. You should look for a detergent that is for sensitive skin. It typically comes in a white bottle. And then you also have to avoid dryer sheets, which tend to be fragranced and cause skin irritation. Along the same lines, sometimes in the winter, when you have dry skin, your skin can become more sensitive to certain materials that you wear, certain clothing. And wool is the biggest culprit. Materials that are better tolerated tend to be cotton and synthetic materials such as nylon.